¿vale? Ahí. Eso, un pasito con la derecha. Perfecto. ¿Vale?
Welcome to another episode of the Hack My Age podcast. Today, we are going to learn so much about surgery hacks because I've learned a lot in the last 3 months when I had two surgeries, two major hip replacement surgeries in the last 3 months. So my learning curve is exponential, and I have learned a ton from the first and for the second. And I'm learning a lot from not only my own experience, but I was really well equipped for both of them because my guests on this episode, on this podcast, are a huge resource of information. And so I tapped into them and I asked them, what I should be doing. And I think you're going to have some really invaluable tools for anyone getting any kind of surgery. If you're listening, you or somebody is getting a hysterectomy, a mastectomy, maybe some explants, maybe a facelift, whatever kind of surgery you're getting, you're going to want to try to get these hacks if you're interested in healing faster. And you're not going to find these hacks with your doctor. They probably won't know what you're doing, but always run it by your doctor before you try any of these things that I'm trying. I'm not recommending you to do it. I'm just telling you what I've done and where to explore, do a little bit of research, dig in deeper, see if this is for you, and then run it by your doctor. And I'm going to try to give you all the resources in the show notes as much as I can. And if it's not there, just DM me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever. Email me, my website, hackminds.com. You'll find me. And then go to the YouTube channel if you want to see the visuals. I've got some things I've pulled out here because sometimes it's hard to understand what I'm talking about, and you'll understand better when you have a visual. So go to the YouTube channel. It's in the show notes. It's Hack My Age always. So get your paper and pen and start writing some things down. Get ready. And before we start, I just want to remind you that you are welcome to join us in the Biohacking Menopause membership group because we talk about all of these things all the time. And we have doctors in there as well. And we have our guest experts who are guiding us. And because this is sort of the end of the month, you're going to catch our very last guest of the month, who is Dr. Indra Barathan. She is a functional medicine doctor. She's our in-house doctor. She's really cool. Every month she comes on and she answers your questions about menopause and biohacking and the gut and everything. So she gets to know you after a while. So it's really cool to see her evolve. And it's great to get a second opinion when you can. And as well in the Biohacking Menopause membership group, this is a private, women's only menopause support group. We have every month a giveaway. So if you can sign up before February 1st, 2025, you get a chance to win Kion. Kion is, my favorite essential amino acid supplement. That I take it in a powder. You can have it in capsules. If you've missed this offer, I'll have a link to get your own at 20% off anyways in the show notes. And then next month, we have a biggie. A really big one. We're going to get a chance to win a Flex Beam. This is a red light therapy device. It's one of my favorite. I use it all the time, and it is about $600. So if you sign up before March 1st, 2025, you get a chance to win that too. So we get really cool prizes every month. And every month you get to meet our guests. If you like the guests on this podcast, well, you get to meet them for a live Q&A session. Every week we have somebody coming on, whether it's me or our guest. We have monthly challenges to manage your symptoms. We have self-experiments going on. And we have a group of like-minded women who are just amazing biohackers. We also have breathwork sessions and menopause resources. So much is going on there. So go check that out. The link is also in the show notes. And I just want to thank you for those who've done a review on the Apple Podcasts or Spotify, maybe given a star rating. Thank you so much. These are the little gestures that make a huge difference for the Hack My Age podcast, so we can keep inviting bigger and bigger and better guests. So please, if you haven't done that yet, pretty please write a review. So let's get on. Here's my journey. Why are we even talking about this? And if you're totally new to this, you may not even know that the short story is I've had hip osteoarthritis, and then I had 2 total hip replacements. Gosh, I know, it's kind of insane. And then I have a whole episode on osteoarthritis, a whole episode on my journey and why, et cetera, et cetera. I'll have a link to that in the show notes. What I used for pain relief, what worked, what didn't, and then some pre and post surgery hacks there as well. But I did that recording before the surgery. Now, after the first and the second surgery, I've got even more. And it's now about 2.5 weeks post second surgery. And I've noticed a faster recovery with this one because you always learn from the first, you're applying to the second and just picking up new hacks as well. So I've put a lot of things to the test in a very short period of time. So I'm going to share what's working for me. And anyone who's listening who is dealing with health issues or disease or chronic pain like I have, there is a major psychological and emotional impact on this. And I just want to recognize that because you may feel so alone in this journey. You may feel old. Like this is, for me, when I was told I have to have hip surgery, I thought this is for when I'm 70. Like why are you putting me in this category? And I found I couldn't find the information I wanted to find. When I Googled osteoarthritis, it was lose weight. Like that's not my jam. If I lose any more weight, I'm going to blow away. So I couldn't find any stories, anyone who resonated with me until the very end when I started talking about osteoarthritis. When I started to share my journey, I've got overwhelming feedback from women all around who are saying, me too. And thank you for sharing. So I really want more women to be open about this, to understand this is not just a disease that you get when you're older. In fact, I had an Instagram follower reach out to me and she said she was having her surgery. So I insisted to meet her. I had to talk to her and share some hacks because I hadn't done this episode yet. I couldn't share. And I talked to her for about an hour. And her story was she was 32 years old, 2 twin 3-year-olds. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, well, okay, here I think I'm too young to get this. Imagine how she's feeling. And she was feeling horrible that she can't be a young mom and she can't chase after her kids, but now she's going to have a second life. So now let's talk about pre-operation hacks before you go get an operation. This is for, again, any kind of operation that you're going to get because we want to just be able to go into that surgery with the best condition possible because you're going to go under major trauma. Your body is going to have to fight to rebuild and repair. So going in is super important. And I meet too many people who have struggled, and it's hard, obviously, to keep your nutrition and exercise and do all these things. And you're like, oh, when I get out of surgery, then I'll get back into my active life. No, you have got to work hard now so that you have a faster recovery and that you don't have any problems or complications, right? So we're going to start with nutrition, and I'm not going to take a deep dive into this. You know what's good for you and you know what's not good for you, okay? We want to lower those processed foods. I know you can't maybe eliminate them completely, but please try to, as soon as possible, this can go months before your surgery. It's better if you can have a little bit more time to get rid of these things, stop the inflammation, stop adding fuel to the fire. So try as best as you can to keep anything that comes in a bag, a package with a label, coming in a jar, anything that needs an ingredient list, and especially if the ingredient list is long with alphabet soup that you don't understand, gobbledygook words. So please try to lower that. The next thing that you also is very, very, very crucial is get the protein in your diet. I know it's hard to get protein as it is, but you need to up your game when you're about to get surgery and post-surgery because it's all about building muscle and repairing tissues. So if, let's say, the standard recommendation is 1 gram per pound, let's say you weigh 100 pounds, 150 pounds, well, go get 150 grams of protein. That's like the simple way to do it. Everybody's like 0.7 or 1.2, like who cares? Just the one is easier to remember. Now, I upped my game. I doubled it. Okay, so I needed to get about 200 grams, closer to 200. Maybe you need 300. And this is more in relation to post-surgery, but I also upped my game. I had 2 weeks to prepare for the surgery. And so I upped my game during those I upped the protein during those 2 weeks. But you just want to make sure you get enough protein and get it in. Now, the other thing that's really important is include fruit and vegetables into your diet, and fiber. Okay, this is the fiber. You want to get your gut good, right? Now, if too much fiber is making you is too fast, too much, too soon, then you take it easy with that. But make sure you get those whole foods in your diet, and low inflammatory foods. And generally, you know what that is. Those are usually grains. They're usually sugar. It's could be inflammatory oils, et cetera, et cetera. Try to get those out of your diet and eat more just whole foods. And fats, and healthy fats, obviously, like olive oil and avocado, or avocado oil, olives, these kinds of things. Really, really good for you. Try to get those in. You know what you should be doing. Just do it. Now, if you have any gut issues, any intolerances, any other kind of diseases or issues, please try to get those resolved as quick as you can before the surgery. So that's just like the nutrition point. And we're going to talk about supplements a little bit later. But the next part is exercise. I know you may be in pain. I know you may be injured. I know what that's like. I've been living with chronic pain for years now. And I needed to keep the rehab up. Do your rehab. Go find a trainer, find someone. You can find somebody online who's more reasonably priced. You can follow YouTube videos if that's your last resort. It's free. Try to do as much rehabilitation, whether it's your shoulder, whether it's your leg, or whether it's your knee. You can also work around the injured site as well. The game is to build muscle and get lean. If you're overweight, this exacerbates the situation. The more muscle that you have going into the surgery, the faster the recovery. So don't wait until after your surgery when you can get active again. There's so many things that you can do to build around it. So follow a rehab program, period. And you're going to do that after, obviously, as well. So please try to get that done. If you absolutely need a little add-on, I love Katsu training, which is blood flow, say moderation. It's like BFR, blood flow restriction. It's partial restriction or partial occlusion of the limbs. And it looks like this. If you're on YouTube, it's this strap. You put it on your arm or your leg, never both at the same time. You go to your app, you turn it on, and this band inflates for 30 seconds, deflates for 5 seconds. And then there's this sort of cycling that goes on. And what this does is it activates growth hormone. It brings more elasticity to your arteries. It is a game changer. I have to say, this Katsu came into my life at just the right time, right when I was told, no more impact, no more intense exercise, just do those boring leg lifts. And that's all I could do. And I thought, great, I'm going to lose all my muscle and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was on this search. So for a good year and a half, no training like that. It was just boring rehab exercises. And I have maintained my muscle mass. It is unbelievable. So I believe Katsu has been a big contributor to that. Of course, my diet as well. And a couple of little hacks I'm going to talk to you a little bit in a second. Because in fact, when any kind of exercise is better than none, all right? If you're an all or nothing person, you've got to get this out of your mind, because even a little bit of exercise is better than none. And if you're, say, doing a hip operation or maybe a knee operation, you're going to depend a lot on the opposite leg. So I've been doing things like pistol squats practically because I have to pick up something off the floor. So you're really depending on that non-operated leg. The arms and the hands are a different story, but really that's part of the reason why you got to get both legs really, really strong. Now, I'm going to tell you why even a little exercise is better than none. There was a really great study that was done in the journal Sports just in 2024, quite recent, and it showed that healthy untrained adults, okay, not nobody active here, they can maintain muscle mass and fitness with minimal exercise. Okay, they've had some muscle, they're healthy. It's not like they're completely gone. But what they did a 12-week block of resistance and aerobic training. So you had resistance, meaning they were doing some maybe weightlifting. I don't remember. They said the study. I'll put the link to the study. You can go read it. And then there's aerobic training, probably on a stationary bike, for example. And there were 3 groups. So one group exercised like that, the resistance and the aerobic, once every 7 days. And the next group exercised once every 14 days. And then there was a third group that had no training. Okay, it's the control group. So this after 12 weeks, the people who had trained only once every 7 days for 12 weeks significantly preserved their muscle and aerobic fitness. I mean, this is mind-blowing. Once a week. And then the people who did it once every 14 days also had significantly preserved, but they had larger declines. But it was significant enough that they were able to preserve some muscle and aerobic training, and significantly, actually. And then the ones who had 0 training had the greatest loss. So just because you are injured, or just because you think, oh, I'm not able to train, or I know how you don't feel like it. I know it's hard enough as it is when everything's running perfectly. But when you're a little depressed and you're a little low and you can't be active, and it hurts, it's even harder. But training once a week was enough in this study, and there are other studies that replicated this, to maintain muscle strength, size, power, and aerobic fitness. That's pretty significant. I personally have been doing something every day, because I do katsu every day, but I would do just my boring rehab or leg lifts, or sometimes just do yoga or some stretching, whatever I could. It wasn't a lot, and it was a fraction of what I used to. And I've maintained, and I'm living proof that this is absolutely work. So if you can only get once a week, do the once a week. If you can do more, you do more. But obviously know your limitations. Don't injure yourself. Don't make your problem even worse. And then if you did lose, whatever you do lose, okay, maybe you've lost it. It's not going to take you the same amount of time to build it back as the first time of building it. Meaning if you needed 3 months to get, 5% more muscle mass or 10% more muscle mass, which would be great. It's not going to take you 3 months. Muscle has memory. So it's going to be much faster building it back up. So don't fret. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater just because you cannot exercise. I mean, believe me, I was so bummed. I couldn't do anything. And here I am going into surgery in the best shape ever. And because I had enough muscle mass and I preserved it, I was allowed to get another surgery after 3 months, because normally it's 6 to 12 months. And I was not going to have any of that because I was living in pain with the other one, and I had one leg longer than the other, right? Because they restored the length of my leg. And here I am walking, hobbling. It was this big struggle. There was no way I was going to wait for 6 months. But if I weren't in a good condition, unfortunately, I would have to wait. And that was really, really painful. It was really hard to go through those 3 months. I can't imagine doing it longer. The next thing you want to get in line are your hormones. Okay, so I'm talking to a woman here, a menopausal woman, because one, you're going to mitigate those menopause symptoms. If I'm talking about bioidentical hormone therapy, top them up, make sure they're good, make sure you get rid of your hot flashes, because you're going to need to sleep. You're going to need your night sweats, get rid of any kind of problems that you're having from menopause. Sort those symptoms out, because when you're post-surgery and you're feeling like shit, you don't want to add more shit, right? You want to feel good. You want to just resolve those problems, whether you're topping up with bioidentical hormones or just not taking hormone therapy and balancing them with supplements and with your diet and lifestyle practices, which we have to be doing anyways. Figure that piece out. You need sleep after a surgery, because that's when growth hormone is released That's when we're repairing our body. That's when we're restoring. And I know, and I have had pretty bad sleep during this, right after post surgery. The first week or two is kind of a lot of waking up because you're in pain and you want to fall asleep like that again. You don't want to be up all night. And I've got some great hacks for that. And remember, if you are taking hormone therapy, estrogen is an anti-inflammatory. It's your natural, your own body's own defense mechanism to put out the fire. So get on the estrogen if you have that. HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical, we're talking about, helps build muscle. It builds bone. It's protective for the heart. These are all things you need going into the surgery and coming out of it as well. So get your hormone therapy sorted out, get the appropriate levels, enough to build the bone, to build the muscle, right? So those baby low dosages are probably not going to work for those things. It may, baby dosages can take away a hot flash pretty easily. And that's already something. If that's all you can do, great. You want to take it next level, then optimize those hormones. The next thing is the supplements. Oh, you know me, I'm the supplement queen. I love supplements. The number one thing to get on right now before your surgery, to take to the hospital, and to get on after surgery is your essential amino acids, right? The 9 essential amino acids. We're not talking about BCAAs, the branched chain amino acids. That's only 3 of the essential amino acids. We want all 9 of them. And we want them in the appropriate and the optimal dosages and in the right proportions. I have a great podcast all about essential amino acids and why it's superior to whey protein or even eating chicken. Partly because it is like the fast track of getting amino acids to your bloodstream, to the cells, and for repair. When you eat a piece of chicken, which is great, you should be eating chicken because there's a lot of other things going on. I can't remember exactly, but it was a percentage, maybe 30%, I don't remember, don't quote me on this, of that is essential amino acids, right? So if we could, and on top of that, our body has to be able to digest, break down the proteins into essential amino acids, period, but the essential ones as well. And the essential ones you need to get from diet. Our bodies cannot make this alone. So that's why I'm a huge fan of essential amino acids. Grab something that has high enough dosages. I've seen too many essential amino acids that are on the market. They're just really small dosages, especially of leucine, which is the most important one for building muscle. And the one again, hear me, I talk so much about Kion because I was convinced after this podcast I did with them on how great the proportions are. But the thing is, if not everybody can get Kion for one reason or another, just go to Kion, getkion.com and look at the label, read it, try to find more or less the amounts of essential amino acids that they have, and just get the next thing that you can get that's got high enough dosages for that. There's another good one. Amino Co is another one that is got also great essential amino acids. If you can't get this one, depends on where you're living, right? But just get in touch with me if you want some other brands. Then you want to get your protein powders in, because you'll probably have a hard time eating enough chicken and fish and steak and all that. I mean, you need that. There's definitely, get your animal protein, get your vegetable protein, get whatever way you can. It's many other components that are in food are important for us. But because we need to get higher levels in, this is the time. I'm not a fan of taking protein powders all the time. I take them when I need them, when I find it. I'm in a jam, and this is your jam time. Dr. Amy Horniman has great protein called Protein Fixer. And she's got also just all the essential amino acids are in there too, but it's not going to be probably enough, as you need to get the essential amino acids plus the protein. A good whey protein powder is awesome. and get the creatine monohydrate as well. This is a simple molecule. It's not expensive. You don't have to get anything fancy. You just get whatever you can. Make sure it says creatine monohydrate, and that's really good for building muscle as well. It's good for your brain as well, because probably our brain is also taking a bit of a hit with all the medications that we're taking just for the surgery. Collagen. Get your collagen. This is the time. Now, there's a lot of collagen, probably like, well, do they really work? Do they not work? There's some that do and some that don't. And you got all the type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go for one that has the trademark Fortigel, Fortigel. I didn't bring mine out. I should have brought it. But it's, you can look at a lot of them. You can probably just Google it. What has Fortigel in it? That's the one that has some really great research behind it, the most convincing research in terms of efficacy. So that's just a trademark, and it'll be in the ingredient list. There's a billion brands that use Fortigel. Make sure you have that. And then it has a little trademark on it, not in quotes, but in the trademark. And I know that Dr. Amy Horniman also has a great collagen there with the Fortigel. Then there's NAC, N-acetylcysteine. This is great for inflammation. It's great for detox. It's great for a lot of things. It's kind of like spermidine. Primidine is my take that all the time, no matter what. And I take NAC. That's kind of up there with how important that is. And then I also take urolithin A. Now I put this one to the test because I just started using it about a week or two before my surgery. I got a bottle of MitoPure. It's by Timeline. Got one bottle here. So this is what it looks like. And this is urolithin A is derived from pomegranates, but it has nothing. You can't eat pomegranates and get this. Your body just can't synthesize it from pomegranates. Most people cannot. So I got Timeline because Timeline shows they have really great studies showing that you can keep muscle strength and it can lower inflammation and it helps with the immune system. So I really, really needed this before, and I tested it. I took 3 bottles, 3 months supply. So now I'm just finishing this one, and actually this is the 4th one, I think. So I've got 3 months experience with that, and I noticed that the second surgery was better, faster recovery than the first. I would also get a bone supplement. Any kind of bone supplement. You can find these on Life Extension. Probably Thorne has some. AlgaeCal is one that's recommended oftentimes by osteoporosis experts. And I'm sure you can get discount codes everywhere. Just Google that. And usually those supplements have calcium, magnesium, vitamin D3 and K2. They got vitamin C, boron. I'm bringing one I'm using. I'm using one by Biogena right now because I'm in Europe and we can get that one quite easily. And then you also want to get some minerals. We need minerals as well to repair, restore, and build. And I'm using Beam. This is actually, I have to say, the best way to take supplements because you just pour a capful in water. It tastes like nothing. You don't notice it doesn't change the flavor of your teas or coffees or your water. I just throw it in, and I've got all my minerals for the day. I don't have to buy separately magnesium or calcium or anything. So I think that's a really, really great to get some of these minerals in. And then a week before your operation, you may want to ask your doctor if you should stop any blood thinners like omegas or fish oils. Mine said to stop it, so I did. But check with your doctor. And the next component is your sleep and your stress. Now, you really got to biohack this before your surgery. And the more you biohack it, the more you figure this component out, it's going to help you so much post-surgery. You really need it. There's a lot of stress going on. And there's a lot of stress when you're in pain. There's a lot of stress when you have problems. But you're going to have it even more, especially that first week or two. And maybe even longer, depending on how your surgery goes. So figure this piece out, whether it's getting on a meditation program, learning how to breathe, listening to binaural beats. You can find these things on YouTube. Nidra yoga, use the gadgets. There's so many gadgets. I actually have a whole episode on stress busting gadgets. supplements, glycine and Bioptimizers, sleep breakthrough. That's a really good one too. And work on your sleep hygiene. Get the stuff that's for free, right? You can breathe for free. You can meditate for free. You can do Nidra yoga for free. You can put your phone away an hour before bed. You can tuck away all your electronics an hour before bed. That's free. Really, so many things you can do. And then one thing I'll have to share with you, it's a crazy story, but I've been a fan of NuCalm. Now, this is neuroacoustic software, and you have an app in your phone, and you have these journeys. And the journeys, I think there's maybe 8 of them. But I listened to them because I did a great podcast about this, and I call it Meditation Made Easy, because it's when I listen to it, you have your headphones, you put on an eye mask, you wear these little bioresonance stickers, and you put them on the 6th pericardium point of your wrist, and that releases GABA, and it gets the brain into a meditative state. It just entrains the brain to go into this really calm, relaxed state. That's why they call it NuCalm. And I've been using the Journey Rescue as well. And I called the company. I said, look, I'm going in for a surgery and I'm a little stressed out. And I'm wondering if there's something I should do. I was thinking actually during the surgery, because I was waking up at 2 a.m. several days before my surgery with a nightmare of, what if I wake up in the middle of the surgery? What if it's going to hurt? What will it be like? And I, for the first time in my life, felt a pressure on my chest, and I recognized that as anxiety. And I hear this story all the time, and I thought, I think this is anxiety. I'm waking up at 2 and I got this pressure in my chest and I'm worried, and it's absolutely natural. You are going to feel stressed before surgery. I don't care how many times you've done it. It's a stressful moment, and your mind can take you places. So when I told them, and they said, look, take rescue, do the rescue journey 3 times a day. And if you can take it into the surgery, you do it then, and then you do it after. And so I wasn't allowed to take it to the surgery, but I started listening to, like they said, I put them on, listen to it. And the day of my surgery, or the night before, I have the best sleep of my life. I was so happy because I just didn't want to wake up at 2. I was like, oh my God, I'm sleep deprived. Like, I knew how important sleep is. So I was so happy. I woke up and I felt so well rested. I was like, this is great. And that feeling in my chest was gone. And I went to the surgery listening to my NuCalm on the drive there, listening until the moment they told me to go into the surgery. And I felt so chilled, so relaxed. And when they put you on that wheelchair and they wheel you into the operating room, and those doors open, and you see that table in the middle with the lights shining on it, it looks like a scene from Frankenstein. And you go, wow, that's for me. It's kind of scary. It's impressive. I wasn't scared whatsoever. And I was having nightmares of this. So I felt so calm. I was like, bring it on. Like, I was so chill. I couldn't believe it. And I was having nightmares about this. And of course, in 2 seconds, they put me out. I wasn't allowed to listen to the NuCalm. And halfway through the surgery, I wake up and I thought, oh, and I heard a saw. Bzzz. And I thought, oh, I think that's the saw. I think they're going to cut my bone off now, because that's what they do, is when you have your femur and they cut off the head and the neck, and then they, put the implant in. I was like, oh, interesting. And then you're so drugged up. I was like in and out. And then I heard this ba-bang, ba-bang, ba-bang. And I could feel my hip moving with each bang. And I thought, oh, I think they're putting the implant now. And then I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't be awake for this. And I made a noise. I don't know if I couldn't talk, just grunting. And then in 2 seconds, boom, they gave me the anesthetic. And I could feel the cold going through my hands and through my body. I could feel it in 2 seconds. I was out. And then I woke up and I said to the surgeon, wow, I think I woke up in the middle of the surgery. And is it a dream? Did I dream this? Is it real? And he said, yeah, you did, but we put you out. I Could not believe how I took this so relaxed. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure. Newcom may have played a role, but I'm sure it was all the drugs. But maybe Newcom had something to do with it. I just kept doing Newcom every day to this day. And what happens when you have poor sleep, and I've always used Newcom this way, is when you have a bad night's sleep, and let's say I wake up at 5 in the morning or 6, or gosh, okay, my body's just not wanting to go to sleep again. I will put on a Newcom journey rescue, because a 30-minute journey is like getting 3 hours of deep sleep, and boom, I've got plenty of energy. It's insane. It's really, really amazing. So I'm a fan. I'll have a link in the show notes what to do or where to find this. You get a 70-day free trial. I found that out recently, and that's really cool. So you can test it out. You won't have the stickers, but you get an idea what that's about. But that's my anxiety story. Really, really crazy. And this crazy thing is, with the second operation, I woke up again. But this time I was so curious. I said, no, I want to stay awake for this. I want to remember this. I don't know. I'm not one of these kinds of people. I promise you, I'm not a gory person. I don't like this stuff. But I was fascinated. And I do remember seeing the anesthesiologist walking towards me, and I was saying, no, I'm okay. I'm good. And he put me out anyways. So I didn't get to stay up for that, but I realized with the second time around, I actually wanted to stay up. I don't know. Easier second time around. So the next hack that I'm going to give you is, we're not even yet on operation day. This is all pre-operation day. You're probably going to need an x-ray at some point, or maybe a mammogram, or maybe anything with radiation. I got this great hack from Dr. Jen Simmons, and I did it. It's kind of crazy. But what you do is, 1 hour before your x-ray or your mammogram, you take 1 to 2 grams of liposomal vitamin C. Now, you need the liposomal stuff because that's more bioavailable, plus 100 to 200 milligrams of melatonin. Insane. Normal dosages of melatonin is 0.3, 0.5, up to 3 milligrams. 3. That's where people get knocked out and even groggy. So I decided to take 100 before my x-ray. And I felt fine, actually. Took my x-ray. And then 3 hours after the x-ray, you do it all over again. I took 2 grams of liposomal vitamin C. And then the second time around, I took 160 milligrams of melatonin. And I was pretty cocky because I took up to 10 before in the past. I'm like, this stuff doesn't work. I can't eat all these gummies. It's all, I don't know. I'm just metabolizing it too quickly. And I got really groggy in the evening. And then but I had to do some work, and I was doing some work, and then I took a break. I was talking to a friend, and then I got a second wind. I was like, okay. So I didn't pass out. I woke up again. I mean, after that, I didn't fall asleep. I just was very alert again. And then I went to bed at a normal time, but I do remember waking up a little groggy. And so the way you offset that is you go outside in the sun, or outside, even if it's a cloudy day, you try to go out. 15 minutes of sunshine should actually remove the grogginess. Maybe a little bit more if it's a cloudy day. So this hack isn't over. You have to repeat this for 3 days. So 1 hour before the x-ray, 3 hours after the x-ray, and then 3 days after the x-ray. And that's Dr. Jen Sims' hack. And that is supposed to offset the radiation. That's why I didn't even explain that. Why are we doing this? Yes, for the radiation. So you can try that if you want. Obviously, talk to your doctor before doing this. And what are you going to do? Where are you going to get 100 milligrams of melatonin? You can either get it compounded. Some countries need a doctor. Some countries, actually, it's illegal. So you got to figure out that piece. I found capsules. I have a feeling I didn't bring it with me. I have a feeling it's Now brand, and it is 20 milligrams per capsule. So I popped 5 of those, and then 8 the next time. And then after that, I just went back to 5. So yeah, that's my x-ray hack. The other thing to do before your surgery, I think it'd be really helpful, is find a Facebook group for whatever surgery that you're getting. I found the hip replacement surgery group. I'll have that one in the show notes. It's like 60,000 people in there. It's insane how many people are getting hip replacements. Um, but I also found it really helpful to go to the Facebook group of Hit Play Not Pause. It's a wonderful podcast by my buddy Celine Yeager, and it's for menopausal women who are active. But when I was contemplating surgery, I wasn't sure I wanted to do this, or if I do, what kind. I tapped into that group and I asked them their experiences, what their opinions, and I got the most amazing feedback. So such support and such clarity, because I really tapped into a woman who was like me, who was active and who was in this camp because of being athletic. And I really, really appreciate that. So I would say, no matter what, hysterectomy, mastectomy, whatever, facelift, like go to that group, and I'll have a link to that one in the show notes too. And tap into them. They were wonderful, wonderful. And then the hip replacement group was also really good because I got some really good ideas for aftercare and just to see, is it normal that I feel this? I had the first time around, I had to sleep with a pillow under my knees, and then how long until I go onto my side, and everybody's sharing their story. So whether it's a hip replacement or knee replacement or whatever, you'll find that support group on Facebook. Use those resources. Now let's get into operation day. The day of operation. Ask your doctor what to bring. And if your doctor or your care is like mine in Spain, it was pretty much your passport and come fasted. I wasn't told that I need to bring my own crutches. I wasn't told that I need to have bandages at home and antiseptic, and I needed to clean my own wound. And I had none of this. And luckily, I met a woman who went to the same surgeon, and she really prepped me for this. And I'm hoping where you're at, you'll have a whole website or a packet or something. But if you don't, go and ask what to bring. And if not, try to find somebody like I did who's been through it all, who can prepare you. And then also ask your doctor about post-operative care. And if you're like my doctor, it was like, good luck. Just don't bend your knee this way and don't move your leg that way, and I'll see you in 3 weeks. And it was, I was told in the hospital, I did have a rehab because I got 4 days in the hospital. If you're in the US, it's outpatient. Sometimes people get 1 day. So make sure you have post-operative care and that you know what to do, whether it's your rehab or it's some painkillers or whatever, but get that before you go into your operation. Now, what do we take to the hospital? The 3 most important things that I think are really saved me was essential amino acids, because you're not going to be really hungry, and shoving down protein down your throat right after operation isn't really it's going to be really hard. I mean, maybe you'll be fine. I had 0 nausea. I had 0, feeling bad. I had plenty of energy, and I still was just like, just don't feel like eating. So, but I knew how important it was to get amino acids into me and protein into me. This is like the time to rebuild and repair. I need to get anti-inflammatories. I need to get nutrients in me. So essential amino acids, bring them if you can, if you are staying in the hospital. If not, make sure you take them when you get home. The next thing was spirulina and chlorella. Now, spirulina and chlorella, the spirulina has got a lot of nutrients in there. And I used to hate taking spirulina and chlorella because it tastes like garbage. It ruins my smoothie, and I can put a teeny tiny bit, and it's all I could handle. So I was lucky. I met Catherine Arnston, who makes this brand called Energy Bits, and they make them in teeny tiny, like baby aspirin sized bits. And her hack is you take 30 of these when you are in a therapeutic mode. Otherwise, you take 10, and it's so easy to pop. They're so small, and I pop them in. And when I go to a hospital, I have these little packets. I love it because all 30 are in one little packet. And I could pound that. Again, just water. You get your water bottle. You put your amino acids in there, or maybe you have a supplement. And then I would put in the bottle as well these things. I put like these green powders. Okay, green powders are also fabulous for getting extra nutrients in there when you just don't feel like eating. So AG, you can do AG1. I was using the Biogeno one. Same, whatever. Get something like that. Any kind of a green powder. Because again, unless you've got a great appetite and can eat right away, fabulous. But I know that the people I know who've had surgeries, they're like, oh, I just feel like eating toast. It's not the time to eat toast. It's the time to get protein and nutrients in there. Eat your toast, fine, but you got to get in the nutrients. So the spirulina and the chlorella were lifesavers for me, as well as those green powders. And then the last thing I brought in terms of nutrition was the bone broth. Before both surgeries, I made my own bone broth. It's super easy. You just boil chicken bones or beef bones for 24 hours, low heat, and then it just soaks up all the collagen in there. And it's wonderful for repair, but also for your gut, right? Remember, you're going to be taking a lot of meds, a lot of painkillers, a lot of probably sleep meds that they're giving you in the hospital, and you don't know, you're just so toxic right now. You want to protect the gut as much as you can. So bone broth is one of those really easy hacks. And if you really can't make it, just go buy a powder online and get it that way. Or sometimes they have them already made in a jar. For like in the US, you get like everything. The other couple things that you should bring to the hospital if you're going to stay the night, an elastic band if you're getting a hip operation or a knee operation that looks like this. If you're on YouTube, just one of these big old elastic bands, because when you're trying to get in bed, you always need an assistant. You need the nurse. You're constantly ringing that bell. I gotta pee. I gotta get up, and then or something fell on the floor, and you can't. I mean, it's a major operation. So I had one of our Instagram followers tell me this hack. I loved it. And it just was so great. I was like, oh, at least a few times I don't have to bother them. And so I love that little hack. And then, of course, at home as well, I kept using it until I didn't need it anymore. Then the other couple things, bring them eye mask and earplugs, because you're not sure if you're going to be sharing a room in a hospital with somebody or if it's going to be noisy. Sometimes, at least in Spain, nurses are kind of loud. And having some earplugs is really good because you're improving the chances of good sleep. And an eye mask as well, because when you're in a hospital, they're constantly coming in, checking your blood pressure, taking a blood draw. At least this is my experience. Coming in for changing your painkillers, because I was hooked up on an IV and then all this stuff. So it's nice to just have that eye mask so that you don't get all this bright light, into your eyes, because they need light to see what they're doing here. And that was a great little hack. And then, of course, I brought my Nucom. I brought my phone, and that was really, really helpful. And I think journaling is also really good. I journaled the first time, not the second time, and that really is, I think, helps offset some stress so that you can sleep. I love the electronic diary that my son has. I don't have to just bring a book. You can put a lock on it, a code. Got to get one of these things, but you can go get an electronic diary. I think it's awesome. And then while you're in the hospital, please accept all the painkillers and all the meds and the sleep meds. You can detox later. You do not want to be in pain. Now, if you're not in pain, then don't worry. But I think the nervous system is already shocked enough with somebody cutting you open that having a little bit of pain-free time brings more benefits than drawbacks. So accept them. We can detox this stuff later. All right. So I was given stuff. I didn't even ask what it was. I mean, sometimes I did. And I was like, I don't care. I just need to be pain-free right now. And so accept them, bring them home, have enough, make sure you have them, and don't wait until you're in absolute agony until you take them. You offset this stuff. That's why we're biohackers. We can detox, right? So now post-operation hacks. Now, once you get home, your goal is to reduce inflammation, preserve and build the muscle mass, build the bone, the tendons, the ligaments, whatever's been cut, and detox. Okay, we want to cover all these things right now. So, probably the first thing you're going to be asked to do is ice. My hospital didn't do that. I learned this from a Facebook group, and I was watching all the Americans doing all these, or at least people in the US, with ice machines on their arms or legs. I'm like, what is this? You can rent, because sometimes these are thousands of dollars. You can rent these things, and it's really great for pain. So I got an ice pack, not quite the same thing. And I also had this really cool ball. Oh, I wish I brought it. It's a rolling ball, and it was a massager, and you keep it in the freezer, and it's cold. So I would massage the area, and it was cold at the same time. So ice is probably your friend in the very beginning. And then after a while, and you should probably ask your doctor about this, but for me, it was about a week, I brought in the red light therapy because it's heat. Right? In the very beginning, I was told no heat, not right now, you need ice. And then I was doing contrast. I was doing some days ice. The ice in the morning, and then I was doing in the afternoons the red light therapy. And of course, I was using the flex beam. I love this one because you can put it directly on your body. Now, if you don't have one of these and you have a standing panel or a mini panel or something, you just stand in front of it or hold it or somehow place it so that it goes over your legs. And it's usually a 10-minute session. It's nothing, right? Easy. You don't want to put it directly on the wound because I have staples and you don't want to do that, but you put it sort of around the area. Like for me, I put it on the upper thigh because I had a lateral incision. So I put it on the top of my quad. So you want to put it around, not directly on it until you are removing the scar and the scar is already healing. Then if you want to reduce scars and so it's not a visible scar, then you can use the red light therapy for that. The next big thing you want to do is movement, right? The first day, not in Spain, it was 24 hours until they made me move. But usually they get you moving within the first few hours of your surgery because you need blood flow, you need circulation, and they want to make sure that you're able to move. So do that, do your movement, whatever it is that the doctor's prescribing. Don't be shocked if you're like, what? I have 2 hours after my operation, I have to walk? Yes. And that's if you have a leg up right now. If you have your arms, that's another story. But rehab is really important, whether it's your arms, your legs, your glutes, whatever it is. Do your rehab, and you're going to be doing it probably from day one. And then, of course, you gradually increase as you go. Get some assistance with this because you may have some limitations, in terms of how much you can bend certain limbs and how far and all that. So everyone has maybe a different protocol. And one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle here is patience. You gotta have patience. I know it's hard. It's really hard. You just want to be better really fast. But everybody's different in how fast or how slow they rehab because partly how good condition they are when they go in, partly what technique that's being done on them, partly a lot of other things. So, be patient. I think that's the hardest thing. But, if I can remind you to be patient, be patient. Let's go into supplements now. And then we're going to go into peptides and other really cool hacks that you probably don't know about. So the same supplements that I listed below, go back, keep taking those. Plus turmeric. It's an anti-inflammatory, right? Get your anti-inflammatories on board. Astaxanthin is another great anti-inflammatory. It's a great antioxidant. The charcoal, because we're going to start detoxing here. I'm talking mostly about detox. Anything that's got charcoal in it, broccoli sprouts, Brocco Max, for example, by Jarrows is a good one. I think in most countries. Chlorella, great detox. Glutathione. Dr. Amy Hormon's got a great thing called Liver Fixer, and so Liver Fixer is again the dramyhorman.com website. I've got codes for that too, probably Zora. And then anything from the Quicksilver Scientific line. They've got a full-on detox kit. I mean, it's pretty expensive, but you can you can mix and match things like their liver sauce. They have, here's the liver sauce. The bottle looks like this. If you're on YouTube, you can see it's all gone pretty much. There's astaxanthin in there anyways. I think, no, there's a different one. Sorry, the membrane one has astaxanthin in it. The Ultra Binder, it's got charcoal and bentonite clay in there. You can get some zeolites, omegas, fish oils. Those are the detoxing stuff. But if you go and, you want to go full on, get a kit, then you can get that as Quicksilver Scientific as well. And I'll have links to that. Brain supplements are probably a good idea because your brain is taking a hit. Qualia Mind is the one I like. I don't have it here right now to show you, but that's a fabulous one to take as well. Now, these next hacks are really awesome because I got them from Dr. Elizabeth Yorth's Boulder Longevity Institute, and she's been a star. Her team there has been walking me through the whole osteoarthritis journey. We tried to hack it. There's so many cool things that she offers. I think for me, it was just a little late. And then she's the one who said, or her team said, that's probably got to go get the surgery. But they equipped me so well. So we'll get your pen and paper out because these are probably words. Maybe you've heard them, maybe not. The first thing that they said to get is Nandrolone Decant. And this is a little controversial. If you're in the bodybuilding world, that's what they're using to support their muscle. It's an anabolic steroid. But when you're using it in smaller and controlled and appropriate dosages, it can really help post-surgery recovery because it's going to preserve your lean body mass and help with the muscle and tissue recovery and helps with bone density. My dosage was 25 milligrams twice a week for 12 weeks, followed by 6 weeks off. I couldn't do this one because I just couldn't find it in Spain. So I would have totally done it if I could, but no, I couldn't. I didn't have time to even ask somebody to put in a suitcase and bring it to me. But if you're in the US, North America, you can get these things. The next thing was BPC 157. And if you've been around the biohacking world, you've heard this a million times. It's pretty much one of the most popular peptides. And we're talking about injectables, right? When I talked about the Nandrolone and the BPC 157, it's about getting a needle. This one is a diabetic needle. It's very, very thin, very small. And when you order your BPCs 157, you'll see in the YouTube videos that they're these teeny tiny bottles, okay? And they have a little bit of they come with a little bit of powder in there, and then you mix it with bacteriostatic water, and then you swirl it around. So then you have a little bit of liquid in there, and then you just every day, you suck it out with the teeny tiny needle. It's super small. I know. Don't be afraid. You get used to it, and it's not forever. And BPC 157, it helps with tissue repair. It helps with the bones and healing the bones, and it helps with the inflammation. And it also protects the gut from the medication and the side effects of that, because your gut is taking a big hit with all the meds. And antibiotics. So actually, I don't know if I mentioned it somewhere else, but you got to get some probiotics. Probiotics is key. I use this one called Megaspore by Microbiome Labs. It was recommended as well. So protect the gut. Now I got to replenish everything. And what's interesting about my gut, I know I'm totally going on off track, but it is with both surgeries. It didn't quite happen. The first one, after the surgery, I'm usually used to after lunch or dinner, and it's usually after lunch, I feel like a little piece of chocolate, or I make a little treat, or I make a protein ball, or I make some kind of sweet treat. That habit was gone. I just, my brain knew I like to have a piece of chocolate after, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, this is so not interesting. But what I did want was fruit. So I've been eating fruit for dessert for the longest time now. And then And then, yeah, it just actually kept lasting. I can't say the second one because I still love the fruit. So, anyways, the BPC 157, my dosage was 500 micrograms per day for as long as I needed. Okay. BPC 157, one of those safest peptides. And people can have side effects. Don't get me wrong. Anything that you're injecting yourself in, go low and slow. So actually, I'd started out with a 250 milligrams dosage because I was scared. I don't know. I'm injecting myself. Like, what if it goes wrong? I know people can have side effects. So I baby dosed until I felt comfortable with it. So, so BPC 157, people who are taking this all the time usually for their gut, it's just, they love it. They really love it. The next one is thymosin beta 4. And actually or you can get TB 500. And so I was told to get thymosin beta 4. I went to a website and I saw TB 500 / TB 4. So I was a little confused. I was like, what's the difference? So thymosin beta 4 is natural and TB 500 is synthetic. Now, and thymosin beta 4 has 43 amino acids, because remember, peptides are just long chain amino acids or short chain amino acids, right? Sorry, short chain amino acids. And because when they get long, it's called a protein. So there are 43. And then the TB 500, the synthetic one, is 17 amino acids. So the TB 500, it's more stable, it's more specific, whereas TB4 has a wider range of things that it can do. TB500 is a bit more specific and it's cheaper. So what they both do is they accelerate muscle recovery. They can heal tendons and ligaments. They reduce inflammation. Again, a superstar peptide. Yeah, you got to inject it. But I mix the two of them in one bottle so that I only have one injection instead of two. And my dosage was 500 micrograms per day for as long as needed. So, yeah, those two, I have to say, I think I give a lot of credit for faster healing, faster recovery the second time around even. So I really, because the first time around, I only had the first time around I had only BPC 157, but this time around I added the TB 500 and boy, I noticed a bigger difference. And also I have to say, I've been on Urolithin A, the Mitopure, by Timeline. I've been on that for 3 months straight because the first surgery, I only had about like 2 or 3 weeks behind me. But now I've got 3 months of that stuff inside me, and I've noticed faster recovery this time. The NAC, I mentioned that before, N-acetylcysteine. It's a supplement. You buy it in the supermarket, or not the supermarket, probably better to buy a higher quality one online from a reputable supplement company. But that reduces oxidative stress. It boosts the immune system. It helps with detoxification. My dosage was 1 to 2 grams orally daily for 14 days. And then I just reduce it back to my normal dosage I take between 600 and 1200 milligrams. The other hack that I was recommended, but I could not find, but maybe you can, is cerebrolysin, which is a drip, an IV drip. And that's a neuropeptide. And it comes from pork brain proteins, but it helps with nerve healing and reduces inflammation. And it's really good for the brain because, again, your brain is just taking a big hit too. And my dosage was supposed to be a 5-day course of 20 milliliters per day. So again, if you're doing any of this stuff, don't inject yourself without any guidance. Please go talk to Dr. Elizabeth Yorth at Boulder Longevity Institute. Go talk to my biohacking bestie, Natalie Nidham. She's a peptide expert, or Rowan Sanderson with the Hormone Balance Clinic. These are people who have guided me through this. And you have questions, like you don't just buy this stuff on Amazon and like do this. So please get some guidance, know where to go, how to buy these things. With the peptides, Natalie and Rowan and Dr. Yorth can help you with that, where to get these compounds, where to buy them it's from a reputable company. They'll get you discounts. They can personalize your dosage because remember, everybody's different. And if you're in Europe, you can explore dnlabresearch.com. You can explore Suaway. I think I got a discount for Suaway. Maybe I have to dig one up if you need help with that. Otherwise, if you're in any other part of the world, please reply to me and I'll help you what you need. You can find me on hackmyage.com or my website or social media. The last hack that I think is really fun, easy, not expensive, is methylene blue. Methylene blue is, you probably see a lot of biohackers with their tongue all blue. It looks like they just had a bunch of blue gummy bears or something. And it's not. It's an amazing, amazing antifungal, antiviral. It helps with mitochondrial function. It's neuroprotective. It reduces oxidative stress. It was basically the first drug that was made on the planet. It was started out as a textile dye in the 1800s. Then it became a cure for some infectious diseases, and it was an antidote for cyanide poisoning. And then they found out it does other things. And actually, I spoke to a nurse, and she says, "Yeah, we still use it in the hospital." So pretty crazy. Been around a long time. Pretty safe. It's great for your energy. It's great for your mood. It's great for anxiety, great for hot flashes. Don't use this if you have SSRIs, if you're taking an antidepressant. And there's other contraindications. So please read up on that before you do that. Mine is, see, I have it here. I bought mine and I buy it as a powder. I mix it. Then I have this little dropper and I drop about 50 drops twice, it was like 20 to 25 drops twice a day on the back of my tongue. And it's, it doesn't cost me anything, but there's a lot of other great, Dr. John Laurence. I did a great podcast with him on methylene blue. I'll put that in the show notes as well. You can listen to it. And he sells some really good quality methylene blue as well. I think is a troche. So it's a troche is when you put it sort of in between your gum and your cheek, and you let that dissolve. And another great way to take that. So methylene blue, look it up. Pretty cool. I also have a blog article on that. I'll see if I can put that in the show notes as well. All right, we're almost wrapping up. I know this has been a long one, but I really wanted to get all my hacks in here and really help you out. The last one is about scar and scar healing, right? Because now you get a big old scar on your leg or your breast or your knee or whatever, and you just like, or if your face, you got a facelift. My God, you don't want a scar. You want to reduce that scar. You want it to go away. So one great hack is the GHKCU copper peptide. No, you don't need to inject this. No, you can get it as a serum or as a cream. I just got one from Vitali. It helps with collagen production. It speeds up wound healing. I just got this. So what I'm doing is a head-to-head match with one leg and then the other. So one leg, I didn't use it. I didn't arrive in time. Actually, it got sent back. I was trying to get into Spain. It got sent back. Finally, I got it. And then the other leg. So I finally now have it. And I'm going to test it out on the other leg. So I will let you know if it works. But everybody says it does. So go get your GHKCU, right? And then the other thing that everybody uses around here in Spain, at least, is rose hip oil. Easy to get. Go to the pharmacy, order online. I don't think it has to be anything fancy. You rub that into your scar multiple times a day, right? 2, 3, 4 times a day. And I just set the timer and I go between 5 and 10 minutes. I may even listen to a podcast while I'm just sort of massaging and rubbing it and putting it in there. And then other days I use silicone tape. Again, it's very easy to get at a pharmacy or on Amazon. And silicone is supposed to help with the healing as well and make the scar disappear. And a new thing I got towards probably around the second month of the first surgery is a scar tape. And the one I got was called Trofolastin, Trofolastin. There's no active ingredient in there. It's not like silicone or some kind of chemical in there. It's mechanical in the sense that you cut off a strip, you put it on, and it's because the pressure from this tape and the moisture, and because it also protects from the UV light if you go out in the sun, it supposed to help heal. Again, I don't know if this really works, but it was recommended. The problem, it was really expensive. It was like $100 for a box, which I think if I could stretch it out, it'll last about 3 or 4 months if I cut them small enough. So everything else is pretty cheap. Then I would say massage, manual therapy. I go to a physio who really works on the scar a lot. He was doing all kinds of stuff with it, using Indiba. Indiba is to help with lower inflammation as well. So he's dealing with the scar, but also the tissue and trying to relax the tissue around the muscle and the fascia around the scar. And he was also using lasers. And I don't ever ask really what kind of laser it is. I know I did ask, but I couldn't remember. But there's 3 different kinds of lasers that are good for scars. I don't know which one is better, so you have to do your own little research. The pulsed dye laser, fractional CO2 lasers, and intense pulsed light. I have a feeling the one I was getting is intense pulsed light because it sounds like a pulsing when it's on. And I just sit there for 10 minutes and then I go. So lasers are pretty cool. And I'm doing this from week 3 when my staples were taken out, because up until then, nobody wants to touch my scars until they know that the scar is closed. And then the last bit of tip, very last tip for this whole podcast and for the scars is just stay out of the sun. Don't put your scar in the sun. It's going to get darker or off color, right? So if you want to blend in, great. If you don't care about scars, more power to you. Just want to make sure that they heal well. That's all. So that's it, guys. Girls, I hope this was helpful. I know it was long. I know it's chock-a-block, but maybe you have to go and listen to it again. But I learned so much from this experience. And I want you to have a good experience and to not be afraid, because you're getting surgery to get better, to be a better person, to be free, to improve yourself. So it's usually not as bad as you think it is. Like, anticipation is probably more scary than the actual operation, right? But I do want you to feel comfortable, and I do want you to heal really fast as you can. This is the way to supercharge your healing, to biohack your way through it. And probably with all these hacks, you're going to feel better in general. Maybe your hot flashes will go away, or maybe you'll find better sleep because you've been putting these into practice. I hope so. But yeah, you'll be an even new and improved version of yourself, and you're getting an upgrade, right? So take care. Leave a comment or send me a message or whatever. It's really helpful to hear if this was helpful to you, or if you thought it was ridiculous. I don't know. Any kind of feedback is good for me. All right. Take care. Have a good night, good morning, good day, wherever you're at. And thank you for listening.